Yeah.
So two of them, I actually
Mm-hmm.
found their channel from my wife. She's the one that put me onto them.
Mm.
But apparently, the guy before he gave his life to Christ, he was in like gangs, in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, and then the lady, before she also gave her life to Christ, she was like, not necessarily in the streets, but she was a lesbian. So like
Mm.
she was engaged with somebody, all of this kind of things. Like she liked women. So one of her
Mm.
struggles was how does she become a woman married to a man and navigating all of that. They have about
Mm.
four children or something like that. So they're very like they're not a typical Christian looking people, but they're very like
Mm-hmm.
Christian. If you see the rhetoric that comes out of their mouth and all. So yeah.
Mm.
Just a small backstory on them.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's why I feel like that's why most people gravitate towards them because they're not, they probably don't look like the picture perfect kind of Christians that we see. Like
Hmm.
I swear that story you just shared now.
Yeah,
Because a lot of people on the streets can actually relate to those kind of stories because like I want this person now like my time person now. I ain't big deal, you know.
exactly.
That kind of thing. So
And people like that actually are the best type of evangelist, when they tell you
mm,
I've been in the world, I've been doing this thing
mm,
before, it does not pay. And I have
Hmm.
seen
mm,
both
mm-hmm,
sides of the coin.
mm,
This side of the coin is going to profit you more than the other side. So yeah, so I think they are the best type of evangelists
yeah,
in the
true, sure. That's
church.
another angle. That's
Yeah.
another angle, sure. Yeah, real. Let's see if they're gonna say.
Oh, today I can't hear the audio.
Oh, I didn't share with the audio. Sorry.
Okay.
My bad. Oh, share. Yeah,
Serious.
yeah. Can you hear now?
Grew up under
Yeah, yeah.
that's a bad stewardship type of
So you
situation.
trying
So
to argue? Trying to
you
argue with
brought
me?
it up.
Huh?
Should have been on disrespect people flesh. I'm just like because
Stop.
you got my spirit
I
on
should have just said nice head. Thought your skin was
adolescents who does something bad. I don't know the
Mm-hmm.
tense.
yeah.
And it's about a little boy who does something bad. And the whole show is kind of this really interesting exploration of his view of masculinity,
Yeah.
his view of women, his view of sexuality, his view of dating, and how that plays a part in what he did.
Yeah. I like
And
how you said did something bad because people be telling like the whole little movies
yeah,
and
no, I
stuff like
want you to
that.
watch it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Mm.
I one of the episodes I was watching and I called Preston downstairs and I was like, I want to watch this with you and get your view of what is happening. Because in the second episode, the little boy is basically meeting with a therapist. And low key, what's fascinating about the show is that the whole thing is shot with one take.
Hmm.
So I'm watching it
Wait,
as a creative, like these
have you guys
Negroes,
watched
they
the
weren't
show?
Negroes, but these Europeans, they are.
This adolescent show.
No, I've not watched it, but I think with what they're saying, I can resonate a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking of because I don't really hear about the show, but like well, the way they're explaining it now is like something that I might need to check out
Hmm.
over
actually.
It
here
was shot
acting.
Yeah.
excellent.
They
My wife
this
has watched
whole
it
one
and she was
Mm.
telling me about it a little bit. But yeah, you guys should definitely watch it. Very interesting. I'm
Mm.
gonna spend some time to watch it myself too.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it today. So just binge it. Mm.
scene is one scene. Anyway,
And that and
that's
that
the
little white boy was
you're
acting.
not supposed to say white.
Was he not white?
Caucasian.
Man, white people don't care about
British.
that.
British.
British. He was a white Caucasian great actor. The boy had the chops.
I asked you to come downstairs so I can get your insight and your thoughts as a man about the themes that they were exploring. And so we're not
Mm,
going to talk about that movie or that show or whatever, but I do think it would be cool to have a conversation about masculinity, about
Yeah.
manhood, about what that has meant for you, what that means for you, what you see even in the
mm-hmm,
landscape of, because I think we had a similar conversation with Ezekiel, but I think this one will be a bit different because I don't even necessarily want to focus so much on men as it relates to relationships. We can get there,
Yeah.
but primarily men as it relates to identity, as it
Yeah.
relates to
mm,
calling, all the
Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah.
so you were born a man. And I'm wondering though, when you started to create or have a conception of what masculinity and manhood meant? Like, what is your earliest thoughts of, oh, that's what it means for me to be me?
Yeah. I mean, sadly, when I started to develop ideas of what manhood was, it was all false and skewed and distorted
When?
ideas. And I think it was probably like seven, 7 to 9, where I started to just see like, oh, my uncles do this. That's manhood, or just trying to imitate them, and trying to just be cool or be
mm,
accepted by women, or um, you know, collecting a whole bunch of dollars and acting like I had like a wad of money in my like a stack in my pocket because that's what all the men had. You know what I'm saying? Around me was money, and so it was
mm.
just trying to imitate what was around me. Which was um, distorted views and concepts of
Well,
manhood.
as a guy is saying his own like the versions of manhood I saw, like what, like right now, for example, like what version of manhood would you see, like examples that you saw of what an actual, like what it feels to be a man looks like for you at a young age?
I think for me as a young age was more of provision and making
Mm,
money,
mm,
and I never saw beyond any other thing because I was taught being a man growing up, you have to not be soft, you have to get it hard. Men never get it
mm,
easy. So growing up, a
mm,
version of manhood I had in my head was men don't get things easy. They get it the
mm,
hard way. So you have to keep working and working because no one is going to come hand over you a plate of gold. You have to go find it yourself. That was a version I
mm,
had when I was growing up. It was really not a nice experience, I must say, because that actually made a couple of young men think
mm.
they're not allowed to have emotions. They're not allowed to have a soft landing because being a man is means you're being born into going
Yeah,
hard and going hard and going hard. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. What about James?
Yeah, I think plus one. Like I think for the most part is, you know, being a man is supposed to be this thing where you can't, even the term act like a man that we heard growing up. It's like, okay, for example,
Mhm,
you're crying, somebody, maybe you go into a fight and you're crying, and then somebody says act like a
mm,
man. It's like, am I not supposed to show am I not supposed to show pain? So
mm,
yeah, no, plus
yeah,
one. Like it's those examples of like, oh, a man is supposed to be strong
mm,
all the time, a man is not supposed to cry, a man is not supposed to, have weak moments, or
mm,
like all your entire being is provision. And by provision,
mm,
it's solely financial and security, like protection.
yeah,
It's never emotional provision of like, okay, providing a safe space for your girlfriend or your partner or whatever.
mm,
It's always provision from like a financial standpoint, which is just
mm.
distorted.
Yeah. But you see, like, so what that means is that you get like, because I can say the same thing for myself. But what at what point do you see that you figure that maybe that's not the best, version for myself? Like when did it hit you?
Well, for
Like
me, it was definitely after I started dating my current, like after I started dating my wife. Well, at the time she was my girlfriend, so like my
mm,
current girlfriend at the time, it was
mm,
like, oh, okay, this is a different expectation that I'm used to. Because I think the other thing is a lot of, and not to say, because I'm sure, not to generalize, but I think a lot of
Mm.
people that I had dated at the time were very, had that same view of a man, of like,
Oh, okay.
provision from a financial standpoint,
Mm.
security of like protecting you physically. It was
Mm.
never that kind of provision of emotional safety. So it was like after I got into this relationship where I'm like, okay, this seems like a different demand that I'm used to. And then
Yeah.
I started
Okay.
doing the research and trying to figure out, is this normal? Like, how do I meet this need? And then I started to see all these guys that are like talking
Mm.
about these other ways of providing that's not financial or physical. So yeah, I think that's when it definitely hit where I'm like, okay, I think my blueprint of what it meant to be a man, because we're all men, but what it meant to
Mm.
be a man in this society, that's when it flipped and
Mm.
changed for me.
You
Okay.
know,
What
I,
about
I
you,
think
Ray?
I think I think for me, it did not strike early because I was built to not give up. I was built to always go hard, go hard. But
Mm.
I think when I started connecting with people, when I started meeting with people, and then I get to understand that, oh, there's a different view
Mm.
of life, different from what I was used to. I started reading books. I started seeing shows. I started like getting out there because sometimes we don't have these resources to
Yeah,
broaden
yeah.
our knowledge, to learn more. We only believe what we were told. If we were told, oh, like for instance, there was this time where everyone had the story of Miss Koi Koi.
Yeah.
No one has ever saw Miss Koi Koi, but everybody believed there is something called Miss Koi Koi till date. So we were used to those things that when we hear something that sticks, it sticks to our head, but we
Mhm.
were not exposed to those resources to actually get a different view from what we were seeing.
Yeah.
So when I started growing up and reading books and watching shows and connecting with people, and I started seeing a different version of life, that provision for men might
Mm.
not just be only financial.
Money, yeah. Mm.
It's beyond that. You have to provide spiritual security,
Mhm.
not just finance. You have to provide emotional wellness, because
Mm.
sometimes you see the opposite gender, they can be really soft, you know but
Mm.
when they know they have someone who's actually there to listen and give them that
Mm.
emotional safe space, they can feel seen and heard. So I was not actually taught that way, oh, this is how you should provide for a
Yeah.
woman's
Mm.
emotional. I was just told she can cry but you cannot cry, you
Mhm.
know
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
She can do this but you cannot do this,
Mm.
but the modalities in place to make sure when she cries, this is what you should do, this is what she
Yeah,
provides
we're
for
not.
her,
Mm-hmm.
they were not there. So
Oh.
I learned these things out of my way, out of my pocket, because of let's say exposure to the world in general. So that's why I keep telling people, you see the world, because we Christians, we say, oh, he has gone into the world. Sometimes the world is not just a bad place.
Mm.
It can be a place for self-awareness, and
Mm.
also a place for you to learn and experience things differently from the cultural way that you're used to. Because it being cultural, it being normal in your environment does not make it normal in
Mhm.
generality. Do you understand?
Mm.
It being
Mm-hmm.
for the
Mm.
fact that it is normal in our community, in our cultural space, does not make it normal in the global world. So I feel like when people get to come out more, they get to see different versions of what the world is. And
Yeah.
for those who did not have the time or
Mm.
opportunity to actually be out there, they keep being in the primitive state of what they think, whatever they believe is the right one. And I think that's why, till date, there are still some messed up philosophy about marriage, messed up philosophy about being a man, philosophies about how you should not show emotions, you should bottle it up. And we keep seeing the death rate of men getting higher by the day.
Mm.
Mhm.
You get couples, and then they'll be like, oh, the man died at 60, and the woman is still
Yeah.
alive at 80, because he has been bottling up a lot of emotional stress, thoughts
Mm.
that he could not even express. Because if he expresses those things to his wife, she's going to see him weak and not
Mhm.
actually suitable to carry like the family and stuff. So a man
Mm.
naturally has ego and does not want to
Mm.
fall for anything. So carrying those burdens on you, it's too overbearing. If you have someone to share
Yeah.
your finances with, your emotional state with, you have a bad day
Mm.
at work, you can come home and say, "Oh, this
Yeah.
is what I had at work.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yeah.
not happy about it, and this
Mm.
is what Mr. A said, this is what Mr. B said, and it made me cry, it made me feel sad." You express those weak emotions to someone, and then it makes you feel hurt, it makes you feel seen. And those
Mm.
and I noticed this thing, if you have a burden and then you just let it out, there's
Mm.
this freeness, like this ease you feel within, like you just
Mm.
feel light. It might not have solved any solution, there
Yeah.
is no
True.
solution
Mm-hmm.
done, but you just feel
Mm.
light because you feel like, oh yeah, I am being seen.
Mm.
Mhm.
And there this
Yeah.
time,
True.
growing up, I know we as men had this thing too, where we might have had bullying from school, but we cannot even take
Mm.
it home because they'll tell you,
Mhm.
no,
Mm.
be your mate,
Mm.
Mhm.
no, be your mate, be that. How many years this in your you? How many years this in your life?
Yeah.
No, no words like
Yeah.
that. Now make you feel like,
Yeah.
okay, is it right to actually fight? Is it right to
Yeah.
do this?
Mm-hmm.
Should I do that? And those things,
Mm.
and this thing called not being able to let out your emotions, they build some kind of evil walls within you.
Mm.
Mhm.
Resentment, anger,
Mm. Yeah.
desperation to
And
be heard,
compounds.
they will all compound into something
Mm.
that even you yourself cannot control anymore.
Mm.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah. I agree.
you go back to school and then
Mm.
you want to either hurt someone so you can feel like a man, like you want to hurt someone too
Mm.
because someone hurt you, so you want to hurt someone. And if you cannot hurt the person being a guy, you want to hurt a lady. You know,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
things like this made
Hey.
it hard for the manhood to actually be like a human. It made it look like we're supposed to be
Yeah.
superhuman,
Mm.
superficial. Yeah, you know, that's
Mm.
just
Mhm.
what I have to say.
Yeah, yeah, but that point is very sharp. You point about like how some men now go into the world, and that's why we have men that are, that women don't respect, because there's a lot of men that have done some, very disrespectful things to ladies, and it's because
Yeah.
if you check, it goes back to exactly, if you trace it back, it's exactly probably
Yeah,
maybe from when they were young, there were certain things that
yeah,
they were just a certain way they were moving, and
yeah.
it compounded, and before you know, it became what it is,
They,
where
they, they
they
want
don't
to feel
respect
heard.
the guys.
Yeah, they want to feel heard. They want to feel seen as a man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they try to use like power to gain that
Mm-hmm.
visibility, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but honestly, it's I'll say that even like for me, like when I always felt that way, like when I was young, I always felt like I always loved to like question like the way certain things were done. So even with the whole like be a man kind of this thing, it just never really settled with me. Like even though like I obviously moved in that direction, but I always be like, this thing doesn't seem right. So women, so the other person like me can cry, but me as a guy, I know if you cry. It's just not logical. It just doesn't make sense. So I've always like had problem with like accepting some of those things, even though you hear some. Sometimes you be in an environment, you hear a lie for a long time, and then it becomes your truth, that kind of thing. And so
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
you don't even know when you decide to look to become or walk in that lie, and all of a sudden it's now your own truth, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it was very. I just feel like I always say like a lot of African kids. I feel like everybody in general say like you just need to at some point visit a counseling or well, should I say therapist
Oh,
at
oh,
some point,
let
because
me just throw this
there's
question in. How many
mhm.
of us here can say we've told our dad, I love you? You see? You see? We do not even hold it back to say,
Text count.
"Mommy,
Text
okay."
count.
No, text doesn't count. Text doesn't count. Like you just hold your dad and hug him and say, "Dad, I love you." How many of us? So you see,
Ah, I
That's
mean,
fair.
and it takes to be honest with you, I have a theory that the moment you see it, right, like that first one is the hardest one.
mm-hmm,
That
mm-hmm.
first one is usually the hardest one. But the
Actually,
moment you see
let me give you a funny story. My
it,
mother-in-law, the first time she said I love you, I didn't respond. I was like, thank you, ma. Bye-bye, ma. And she stopped saying it. She actually stopped saying
Because we're not
it.
used
I
to
was
receive
like,
that. We are not
I
used to
was
receive that from
surprised.
anywhere. Of course.
Oh my God.
So we're just programmed that the only person who can tell you I love you and who you can tell you love is just your
Your
spouse.
partner.
Yeah.
And that is wrong.
Mm. Yeah, it's
That
very
is
wrong.
wrong.
Very wrong.
And we men, do you know, as little as a hug actually sometimes from your
Bro.
dad is
Yeah.
something very,
See,
very
there'll be so much less violence if fathers just hug their sons. That's my theory.
I'm telling you.
I
like
swear.
I'm telling
you can count how
you.
many, not like the whole you came back from travel just a hug. No, like he just saw you and you're just trying to complain to him and just
Mhm.
tells you bring it in,
Yeah,
like come on, and then gives you a hug.
I swear.
I don't think anyone has experienced that. Aside the
Bruh.
whole you just came back from travel, you saw you at the airport and stuff. Aside that
Mhm.
one, he just
Mm-hmm.
he
Yeah.
just saw you melting down in the corner and like, what is wrong?
Yeah.
Ray, what
Mm.
is wrong? Toby, what
Hmm.
is wrong? And then you like, I'm not feeling myself today. And he just tells you, come around, just come up. And then he gives you a
Yeah.
hug. No one has experienced that because we're
Hmm.
not taught to actually show emotions or give emotions to a
Yeah.
fellow
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
You can see a
True.
man like this and
True.
be like, oh, I am in need. Like I need help. And the guy will tell you, you're a man, go and work.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Go on. But a lady can just be there and just be like, I'm sad. Why are you sad? I don't have
And she
money.
get the
And they'll
hug
be
for
like, oh,
sure.
just hold on. What do you need? You want this? You want? I use myself. If my sister calls me now and says, I need a new wig. I don't even think twice. Like I don't even think twice. I just get it done. So the thing is it has synced into our subconsciousness,
Yeah.
and I am trying really hard. If we, the new generation,
Yeah.
husbands and fathers,
Mm-hmm.
can at
Mm-hmm.
least try to change the narrative,
Change the
because
narrative.
it's not
Yeah.
going to be
Exactly.
easy. I'm not going to lie. It is not going to
Mm.
be. It's going to take a lot of self awareness, like
Yeah. A lot. A
aware of
lot. A
what's
lot.
going on, and then you
Yeah.
can actually
Mm-hmm.
pass those love. And
Mm.
because I don't want it to seem like, as a father, the only thing your kids should know you for is just provision.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very sad
Provision.
vision.
And then you get to see like mommy
Very
cares
sad.
about me, but you don't care about me. And he cares about everyone. Your
Yeah. He
mom,
just doesn't know how
everyone.
to
But he just doesn't know how to show
demonstrate
it
it per
except
se.
provision. And the moment
Yeah.
that provision, the financial thing starts to drip, like drops,
Oh.
You
then
can't. You can't come back.
the
It's
hate
hard.
automatically just goes from here to here. They just hate him.
Mm.
But why?
It's hard. Yeah,
You know?
but we're very. But I feel like you say the awareness thing is the most important thing, and that's why when I find like men like this now, like you and James now, and you're already aware of like what's going on. There's some men that don't like this conversation we're having. Say they cannot even have it. Like they don't even have spaces. They don't even know the closest person to themselves. This is not what they're like. They don't think like this. Like you understand. So it's even harder for those kind of men to even make that adjustment because they've not even started the first of all, they don't even know. They've not started the conversation. Because one thing to know is one thing to start the conversation. There's another thing to now begin the process of, okay, now that I know, how do I do better? That kind of thing.
Mhm.
They never even start like step one. So imagine those kind of men like raising kids and stuff. It's going to be, they just replicate the same thing over and over again.
And
So
for me, there's this thing I have in my head. I cannot be with someone who wants the old cultural way of living as a husband and wife or as a spouse. Like a man has to do the
mm,
100% provision. You have to do this. You have to do that. You have to do this.
mm,
Because me, I'm not gonna ask you what you bring to the table. I don't care about that. What I
mm,
need is a teamwork, and
yeah,
all
I
these
agree with
things
you.
start from that holy matrimony foundation. If it is not
Mm,
properly aligned, nothing
mm,
can work because you're
mm,
gonna have to leave the man continuously mentally stressed,
Mm.
continuously emotionally unavailable because the only thing in his head, I have to provide. I
I tell
have
you.
to provide.
That's what I
And
have to
when you have
provide
that
you.
thought, that kind of thinking in your head, it makes
Yeah.
you hard for you to have a space for emotional awareness makes you have less space for self-awareness. Like, what are you doing wrong? Because sometimes I feel like men should have self-reflection on themselves. Like, what have I done properly this time? What have I done wrong this time? We don't even know. And when we tell them, I did not know I did something like this, be like, no, it's a lie. You are aware. You know I don't like this, and you did it. You don't even know because you're tired. You're
Yeah.
stressed. So I think you should start from the cradle where you should align with the partner who actually understands that life works in being a teammate. Like the word says, partner,
Yeah. Yeah.
not a boss. And
Mhm.
I would like how to explain like a subject. No, partnership, partnership. Like
Yeah.
if that way
Partnership is.
it can work. When you're emotionally stressed, you can run to her first before the therapist. Because some men
Yep.
cannot go to
So
their
true.
wives. They go straight to the therapist. The moment they go to her, see finish. You know the matter now will be Ninja. See finish, don't enter. They'll be like, can you imagine? Because of no, I cannot be with a guy like this. I think I was with a lady one time, and then we were just having a conversation, and she's like, oh, I cannot be with a weak man. And I was like, okay, so what is your definition of a weak man?
Yeah.
Like
Good
how
question.
how would a man be crying? And I'm like, wow.
Wow.
Wow, like how would the man just be and you tell him and he tells you he's overwhelmed? Like why? A man is only supposed to provide
Because
solution. A man is supposed to provide like, the same
yeah,
brain you have is the same brain he has.
I agree. The funny thing is because if you think about it, like we're talking all that we've said now is from the perspective of like, oh, like what did we see like growing up like that's mirrored what a man should look like. And also, we forget that the other side, to the gender, like the other side, they're also seeing what as a model to them that a man should be like too. So if they see something that is not like that, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
scary for them. It's
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
I don't know what this is, but this is not a man. That
yeah.
kind of thing,
True,
right?
true.
So there's also they too have to do that on learning. So it's like everybody has to just do like some sort of like on learning, like as a team and say, oh, more this mentality is
Mm-hmm.
not it at all. Like it's a
Mm-hmm.
and obviously there are ladies out there that have done that work or already doing that work, having conversations around it about
Yeah.
how that I mean, in as much as yeah, this is how they were modeled, like this is how a man was modeled to them, like a man cannot be in the kitchen, a man cannot do this, a man cannot
Nah.
do that. But I lie. All those
Not
things are
lie.
just
Me no dey
I
cook.
know
I dey cook now. I don't even need to
I
just
know men
relax.
that
I
cook.
not do all those ones. Babe, relax, I'll cook for you. So those gender roles,
Yeah,
nah. We should
it's a
unlearn.
thing that
Yeah.
is just a lot of unlearning needs to happen on both sides.
True,
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
But
true.
let's see what this
And
brother was
so
saying.
around 7 and 9, that's when I started to think like, man, this is what it means to be a man. Yeah.
You never had, or did you have an experience where a man sat you down and had a conversation about what manhood was? Or was it
Absolutely
all
not.
kind of implicit?
Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. I remember a couple years ago when I wrote the poem "Who Gives a Black Man Permission to Feel," and I talked about in that poem how the first time my uncle set me down to talk to me about what should I do when I'm stopped by the police. That was the first time my uncle
Hmm,
actually set me down and talked to me about something
hmm.
serious. Other than that, it was kind of like life on life
Yeah.
discipleship. Like, come ride to the store with me, or come do this with me, come do that with me. But when he got stopped by the police and the police threatened to kill him, you know, we went home, and I lived with him at the time, and he set me down, and I'm thinking like, okay, we finna have a serious conversation, And he was just like, when you get stopped by the police, you do this, you do that, you do that. You a black man, you got to be safe out. You see what I just went through, and it was kind of like that was the only conversation that he ever had about,
To save your life.
And then a couple of years, a year later, he had a conversation with me about sex, like, and it was, when you have sex, wear a condom. That was it. I was like, I'm 11, and then the next year he was murdered, and so. That was like the most serious conversation somebody had with me about manhood.
Why do you think, because even when I think about like me growing up, I felt like it was only on TV where I saw parents having conversations. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was like, oh, that's what they did on the Cosby Show.
I used
that's
to
what
think
they,
that. I used to think that. I'd be like, why they be doing like this is so fake. People don't do this for real.
It's
in
like
real
y'all
life.
really be talking. And I guess I'm curious, why do you think, because it's not even a masculine, feminine thing. Like, why do you think older adults sometimes don't do the due diligence of having enough conversations as like training, as discipleship, as like, because really what happens is people leave their home trying to figure everything out. I had to figure out femininity. I had to figure out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And which means without the Holy Spirit, without scripture, without pastoring, that means I'm actually usually figuring it out without wisdom.
Yeah, I think you only going to do what was done with you.
Yeah.
I think it's just a repetitive cycle of, not having the tools and not even thinking about it, because, I grew up in an environment. It was just like, you better learn.
For sure.
Like everybody, you better get with the program.
Yeah.
You see how we move, you know what I'm saying? So like if you come around my family like today, they be like, you better watch how we move. That basically means you move how we move. We're not gonna teach you nothing. We ain't gonna sit down and talk to you about nothing, you know what I'm saying? And so like I think that's just kind of the environment that I grew up in. So the fact that we sit down and talk to our kids, that's like a new thing.
For sure it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like the fact that my kids would actually sit down, my son would actually sit down and talk to his sons. I started that.
When we have conversations with Eden, my mom would be looking like, what y'all talk? Why y'all doing all that talking? Y'all doing all that talking?
too long.
It's just like, because I don't want her to go to therapy as long as I did.
Right.
I want to start now.
And our teacher told us today that she's an excellent communicator because we talk to her
Yes.
consistently.
Yes.
Yeah.
What
Ability.
for barbershops? A lot of training doesn't even necessarily happen in the home. It happens in barbershops.
It does.
What's the difference then? Why are men training each other when they get their haircut and not usually having those same conversations at the crib?
Yeah, I do think that the barbershop for men is a safe space. And I know this culture, and this is like this new generation use that word, like they overuse it. But I do think it's legitimate in some circumstances. And I do think that the world, and I'm gonna talk right now about black men because I'm black.
Yeah, you don't go to Great Clips.
Yeah, right.
That's
Great Clips. Great Clips is nasty word. She said Great Clips. Boy, if you don't get them shears away from me.
oh, y'all caught it's a joke. It's a joke.
You don't get them shears away
I'm
from
sure
me.
conversations are had with y'all.
She said Great Clips. Go in there, come out with a bowl cut. You remember that bowl cut that dude had on Soul Food?
Go ahead.
Okay. I do think that especially for the African American male, I think the world is just so much to deal with. And so I think to go to a place where you just see so many. Why you still laughing? I'm trying to be serious. I'm trying to move on.
Your eyes was watery, and I was like, "No, that was funny." Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I think to go to the barbershop and to see men that look like you talking about the things that you love and that you're affectionate for, or venting about your wife, or venting about your girlfriend, or talking about who's greater, LeBron or Mike, or I think it's just a place to exhale. And I do think that not just men, but everybody need that exhale. And when we get the exhale, you just get comfortable. And so I think a lot of things just come out naturally. And then you always got the dude at the barbershop who thinks he's wise beyond his years. And sometimes they actually do, but sometimes they just, they just like
They're
to
just
talk.
talking, yeah.
And so it's just a good safe space, you know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why I think that we need more Christians at barbershops, you know what I'm saying? So I'm always encouraging my barber to evangelize and talk to people about Jesus because they need it.
How, and I know you have to be careful in answering questions like this, but I'm curious on how I think the development of our identity really is shaped not just by our parents of the same gender, but also our parent, like our other parent, right? So it's like how I view myself as a woman is very much shaped by the absence of my father. But how I show up as a woman is also very much shaped by my mother. So, but I'm particularly really interested in how the way you were mothered shaped the way you show up as a man.
That's a really good question. And it's not just a good question because I think about
Actually, Tobe, can you pause?
myself.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think this is a very, very important question that we need to ask every man. Because like a lot of times we're always like, the men in our lives and the examples of the men, inform how we show up in the world. But I think that, to be honest, though, I feel like it's more if okay, this might sound a little bit controversial, but I think the fact that okay, for me, for example, growing up, I think most of the time was spent around my mom because my mom had her own business, all of those things, like and
Mm-hmm.
that was mostly at work, and when he wasn't at work, it was at church, and when he was at home, it was not really always. I want to say 100%, into the day-to-day business, right? But I think that the way our moms raise us really affects the type of men that we become. For example, in the propagation of that idea of men don't cry, it's like it's formed from the viewpoints that you gather around. Because like, it's not like today where everybody's on Instagram, where like my brother-in-law who is like, 16, 17, he's on Instagram. Like when I was able to get on Facebook was like around that age. But I wasn't like, oh, I just grabbed my phone. I had to go on the internet on my mom's laptop, plug the modem to go on Facebook. So like there was some barrier. So it wasn't like we were being raised by social media. I think that
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the growing up of like who a man is comes from how our moms also shaped us. And a lot of times we need to have that conversation around, what are some of the, we all love our moms, and my mom did a great job raising us. But a lot of times, there's certain things that you can point to where you're like, okay, I think these are some of the blind spots that I need to be aware of as a grown adult. Like, my mom was the first child of many children. She had to be super responsible for everybody. So like she almost carried that responsibility of, when we put on men as providers, protectors, that was her for our family in a polygamous family and all of that. And I think some of the ways that we were raised because that's what they knew how to do for no fault of their own. I think that we have to go back to the drawing board and be like, let me check this properly. Like showing emotions. You said something about I love you. For example, I don't think my mom has ever said I love you. But it's not that she doesn't love me, right? But even you don't see that softness because of, especially in Nigeria, women are kind of, especially those women of that time, they're kind of raised to be also tough themselves, because of the environment that they're growing up in. So yeah, I wanted to quickly say that before he goes on about moms and everything.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about like how her being that provider for our own family too might have affected. Like I never thought about that to be honest. But now that you mentioned it, I start thinking about it. Like, that's a good that's a good point. Um, so you're saying that. So what I hear is you're saying that because of the time spent with moms, the responsibility kind of fell to them more on how they shape like
Yeah.
the growing up phase, right?
Of the guys, of the boys. Yeah.
Mm.
Because you're spending more time with your mom. I can
Mm.
only speak for my mom anyways.
And
But
for all the
like,
kids, it's normal for all kids. They spend time with
yeah,
their mom more than their dad.
Than the dad,
Where
exactly.
even in the
But
Western world, it is still the same thing. It's just
is
here
that not?
we
Don't you think
have
it's
a.
strange?
It
I
is
don't think it is
strange.
strange because, but
Yeah.
with the way we are
It's
doing the whole
strange, but
provision
also
thing.
majorities though.
Hmm.
Majority, like there's some stay-at-home fathers. There's some dads that have a chilled job where they can be present, they can be there, all of that. They can spend all the time. But I think it is
Mm,
strange in this country, especially what I've seen among people that are working parents. Both parents are rarely spending time with children in this
Yeah,
country. So like
yeah.
that's the reality of this country. Nigeria is a little bit different, especially where we grew up. It's like
Mm,
most children are spending time with moms because
with
mom is either
moms.
working from home or has her own business or something.
mm,
She's not like the corporate type. And even when she comes back home, there is that response because it's such a stringent patriarchy society. There is that responsibility that she will come back home and still cook for the family and still do all the things that wives are supposed to do even though she's working
mm,
a corporate 9 to 5. Like so even in the situation where you have two working parents in Nigeria, the mom still ends up bearing a lot of the load of like spending time with the kids, cooking for the kids, being around the kids, helping them with their assignments, all of those kind of things.
mm, mm.
I don't know if we actually can remember this rhyme that says mommy in the kitchen cooking rice,
Yeah.
daddy in the parlor watching the
Mm,
television.
mm, mm. Tut, tut,
So you see, it's been more shaped to be like the mom is supposed to take care of the house. So the whole burden of how the male child or the female child turns out, I think 70% has the mom has a part to play in it. For me, I'm just saying from where I grew up back in Nigeria, the mom has 70% to pay in a way that the male child or the female child grows up in that household because they spend time with the child when they're in if they need someone in school, the mom is always there. Like if they need someone in your school, or call your parents for me, the dad is never available. The mom shows up. Not like he doesn't want to be available, but he has responsibilities to provide financially, you know?
mm,
So he's not
Mm.
there. The mom is always there for parents' PTA meetings. The ratio of dads to
mm.
mom in PTA meetings,
Yeah, for sure.
it's
For sure.
alarming. So you see, those
Mm.
little things, it's something that we should now
Yeah.
trace back to say the moms actually have a big, important role to play in shaping a child. I'm not saying we want to put
Mm,
all the load of shaping a child to a mom or to a mother,
Mhm.
but we're just saying at least if you spend more time with the kid, be you the mother or be you the father, you have a part to play. You have
Yeah.
a serious part to play. In this country where we don't have time, both the male, the
mm,
female, you have to work. You have a maternity leave about max 30 days. Like they can, some corporate works can say 20 days, work days. And after that, you have to go back to work. And juggling between what time you're going to get back from work to get the kids from school and her. So
Mhm.
it's really not giving both parties enough time to sit down with the kids and have a conversation. How did your day go? Because when each parties come back, they're tired because they're humans.
Yeah.
They're exhausted. These kids
mm.
we're raising now, I don't know how they're going to be in the next 30 years. I swear.
Bro, I honestly, you
I,
see,
I am
as
scared.
you see,
I am scared. The kids
I'm
that we
telling
are
you,
raising
man.
now in the next 30 years, I don't know how they're going to be. I have no idea. But from
So,
what I see right
mhm,
now, it's not
mhm.
going to be good.
I think that what's going to happen is that because this thing, I think, well, mainly you mentioned it about like how parents in this part of the when you mainly you said for this part of the world, I just don't want to go there because I have a long rant about this thing because it's a it's a very big problem. Like it's a very big problem,
Massive.
and from what I've seen is that for us to find a solution to it, we're going to get to a point where we decide between money
I'm
and
family.
family. Like you
100%.
you literally we literally have to pick. Like it's not, oh, you want to play two sides. You cannot play two sides. You literally two of you have to decide that, oh, Omo,
Mhm.
are we going to do family intentionally or are we going to chase money? And the problem with you see the chasing money always comes in it comes with material things. And I've noticed like I've studied a lot of like families around here, and what I'm noticing is that you see a family that maybe buys something, you think that because that that's because that makes you more of a family. Like, oh, if you have this thing, it makes you more of a family. Meanwhile, like, you don't know the person's spending power, you don't know where they get their funds from, but you just want to look the part, that kind of this thing. You get,
Mm.
and you end up jeopardizing your time, your resources, just because you want to acquire this particular material thing, thinking that, oh, this thing is going to, but you're not thinking that, oh, what are the second, third effects of this particular action that you're going to take? Because that will require you working 3 jobs, that will require you working four
Yeah.
jobs just to, put food on the table and be able to maintain this life. And so at some point, we're going to have to decide, see, are we going to pick shift slash money over like building a family intentionally? Like, honestly, I just feel like that's the only way because
For real.
it's it's strange to be like not be really involved in
In your
the
kid's
lives
life.
of kids. Like, it's very
Yeah.
strange. It's very
And
strange.
and,
I
and, and,
personally,
and
I
the
don't want to
thing
be
and the
that
thing
way.
that parents now do something what I call it competition.
Mm,
My kid has this and my kid has that. And kids go to school and they be like, mommy, Dayo has this one, I don't have it. Mommy, I saw BC in this short. I don't have that short. And then those things
mm,
put another stress and strain in the parents. And now you provide the
mm,
kids with these devices, these, let's say, phones or tablets that are not under control, like parental control. You do not go back and check their browsing history, what they go through, what they watch. You
mm,
don't go through their feeds, what their Instagram or what their TikTok, what they
mm,
regularly consume. You don't go through those things. When I was growing up, the first phone I had was a touchlight phone. My mom gave it to me. Before I started using a camera phone, I think I can't remember the age. I know I was old, like old enough to own a camera phone. But before that
mm,
time, everything was controlled. Who is calling you?
yeah,
Oh, mommy, is this person? Why is the person calling you? You have to give account of whoever that person is, because right now they don't even care. They don't even care what
mm,
their kids are doing with the devices. They go online, do stuff, watch
yeah,
XXX,
mm,
go and look at stuff. And then when things like rape starts popping up from kids, you be like, oh my, like, really? I think I saw a movie where there was this kid who went and killed a little girl in her school
mm,
because the girl did not like him, or the girl said he was ugly, or he was not
Mm.
like the child literally took a knife and
mm,
stabbed that girl. Now
Yeah.
they were being
mm.
exposed to the whole sexual thing, the whole relationship thing, because of the things they consume online, the things that they
Yeah,
see.
yeah, mm,
Because growing up, for we to even see a lady's leg, the lap, oh, your brain is going to be like, my mommy will kill me. She's not there.
yeah, yeah,
She's not there. But you just saw a lady's
yeah,
lap.
mm,
You turn your eye like full speed. You don't want to
yeah,
see.
yeah, mm,
But these days it is different. They want
yeah,
the,
mm,
there is no decency anymore in the society,
except,
and it is making this generation way worse than it should be, and it's getting very, very fast. Like the spread is so fast that I don't
mm,
think it is going to be easy to control. Trust me.
Mm.
yeah, it's that online thing for me, like, because there's too many, like, the information online is just, I can't imagine being exposed to the level of information that I'm seeing online now at the age where I
Mhm.
was at that young age. I just can't imagine it. It will just be too much for just
Yeah.
that tiny brain to have. Too much.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a lot.
I-
You're watching reels, the reels are endless, the TikToks
yeah.
are endless. It's just an over. In fact, even as, funny enough, there are some adults, some of us now, that are even now moving away from those things because we know that those things are like this, the distraction is too much. That because maybe for different reasons, we're moving away from distraction. We feel like it's too distracting from what we're trying to achieve. Just imagine, these are adults that are moving away from these things. They are supposed to
Hmm.
be able to even handle these things, right? So
Yeah.
imagine what the kids are now exposed to. Like, how would they now be able to function, properly? So
Yeah.
it's a very dicey this thing interesting. So imagine not now being present, like you're just picking
And
Present.
shifts here and there,
yeah,
Yeah.
you're just all
yeah.
over
Like
the place. In fact, you have just put
Even
a
even
name.
even the daycare I had back when I was growing up, every Saturday if my parents were not around, was because Monday to Friday you go to school. My daycare was church, and the church was, I'll be in choir to sing, or I'll be in this children thing. I'll be learning one like. But now these days, even the church doesn't have time.
yeah.
Even the church doesn't have time or programs for kids to keep kids busy and get tutored in the doctrine that actually befits, or like Christ like doctrines. Because what we have right now is all about miracles, pursuing numbers. I make the most streams on YouTube. I
Hmm.
make the most.
Mm.
I make the most
Hmm.
conventions globally. You know, they're just hitting
Hmm.
numbers. Now, how about the kids in that church? What is your provision for them? What is your care uh, package for those kids? What are they?
Hmm.
Before you can drop your kids in the church and you come back from, even if, yeah, we can say most kids who were in the church did not actually turn out like all good, but we can boldly say 80% of those kids actually turned out well.
Yeah,
Not all kids that
to
were
be
That
fair,
actually,
yeah.
that's another thing. Like the
yeah.
community aspect of
Mm-hmm.
church, and that's another
Mm-hmm.
problem that we have that is just separate on its own. Is we have all become individuals. Like my pastor was saying something this morning about how we're growing up in a society where it's about the individual instead of the community. And I was just thinking about it, like when you brought that up, like the church used to be a community where it's like, oh, I'm going to keep my children with this woman that is my friend, and then we grew up with all these
Hmm.
other
Hmm.
children who,
Hmm.
had similar morals. Fine, like we dabbled in nonsense here
Yeah,
and there,
yeah. Hmm.
but like we grew up around people. Now you're doing that with the
Yeah.
phone. Now
Hmm.
you're growing up with the people online. You're growing up with the YouTubers that are just like, oh, like
Hmm.
being a man right now is going to be terrible. Like, see one of the most popular manosphere figures, Andrew Tate, and see everything that he has been accused of for years. Some
Yeah.
boys have been listening to him
Following to
for
that guy for
years. They've been following the doctrine for years, the doctrine that was
hmm.
filthy to begin with. It's
Hmm.
like that's what the kids are left with when parents are not in the house, right?
Yeah.
So
You're left to all this kind of be a victim in the hands of all these figures like that.
yeah, no,
And
100% plus one
it's
to what you
even
said,
easy.
Ray.
It's easiest to even manipulate kids than adults
Oh
because
man, for
imagine them
sure.
listening to Andrew Tate. Imagine a guy going online. Your first content that TikTok shows you as a guy, your first content that TikTok shows you is on one of Andrew Tate's clips. It will sink in. Like it's not like it will just naturally sink in, especially when you're not getting any support from like your parent, like there's no parental figure in your life. They're there, but
Hmm.
they're just there for provision. That's all they do.
Hmm.
But they're not there as in there. You get, so how are you supposed to even to even let them know, oh, daddy, I saw this particular man, see what he's saying. Like, do you like, I don't understand it, but can you explain it to me? That kind of thing. And then you see the video, you're like, oh, you even appreciate that I even brought it to you. That kind of thing. And then
Hmm.
you now say, oh no, like this is what he's saying, but you now bring it on and say, see, this is how to go about this, as a guy, as a man in this world. So there's not even that for kids these days. Like everybody's just picking shifts, going for
I keep
jobs.
I keep telling people that not everyone who comes in front of a tripod stand and speaks grammar has sense. Not everyone. I keep telling people this, like, do not let the internet fool you. There are a lot of them on Instagram. There are a lot of them on TikTok. There are a lot of them having YouTube pages. Not every one of them who speak English, who are giving you heavy vocabularies, and you feel like, oh my God, this guy is smart. This guy knows what he's. They might not know shit, and they're just talking for views. And then you, the The consumer, you just consume anything he's giving you because you feel like, his English is very, he knows what he's doing. He goes to school. Back then when we were growing up, we have this notion of whoever speaks English is very brilliant.
Yeah.
It's actually not true.
Mm.
We had a lot of them now. They will stand in front of newspaper stand. Oh my God. If they dissect newspaper for you, you'll be like, but why is this man now like this now? Why is he wearing tattered trousers and he doesn't even have a home? But why is he like this? The next say, he's too smart. He doesn't know what he's doing. He just knows vocabulary. So parents should be careful what they consume, even as parents, because we are talking about kids now. Even the men these days, you hear people saying, "Oh, gay." You listen to that lunatic, and you see some things he's saying are nice, but do not agree with everything because the internet gives you everything. It's left for you to filter.
Yeah, it's left to.
It gives you everything. He will give you. Gay can tell you, "Oh yeah, don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that, do this." Some of them are actually right, but not everything is right. So you going out there to consume everything to lead your family with that mentality. Chaotic. I keep telling people, learn from people who you see and that they've had a proper marriage for over 30 years, 50 years. They are still together, not a polygamous home. And then you can be like, yeah, I can learn something from this guy because there is something this guy knows that I do not know. Not from some strangers online. You don't know their background. You don't know their whatever is going on. You just pick whatever they give you to take. And not every book you see online you even read these days because a lot of books are generated by AI these days. So what are you reading? What are you reading? No research, no proofreading, nothing. It's just everybody's doing everything online right now. So devices for kids early age, it's a no. And yeah, we can say the parents.
Yeah, honestly, I personally agree with that one. Like, I don't think it's something that I want to.
It's a no. Parents are having their own issues, but I think we should just try to help with what we can help before the society helps us. Because if we cannot help ourselves, then society cannot help us. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I agree. I think on that note, we can pause and we can also like end have conclusions on the particular subject. So what would you say that for you how would you say that you're moving differently? Like you're acting like the man that the man to your fullest potential, the man that God has created you to be. And how will you say that you are modeling after that, knowing now the things that you know?
Well, for me, I'm trying to be self-aware. I'm trying to be self-aware. I'm trying to give myself that push to get a job that is not going to take me away from my family. So, because I feel like this is a stage that I can do that. It's gonna because if I do not do it now, it's get to a stage where I cannot make those changes, and it's going to be too late. So right now, I'm trying to push myself to get a job that's going to not take me from my family. That's another one. And then thirdly, I'm trying to be more spiritually inclined because if you know the word, because the Bible is a manual. If you know the word, do what you should do as a man under God's umbrella, you actually would make some important decisions in your life, and mistakes are inevitable, but there will be less mistakes in your decision making because from the word comes wisdom, from the word comes guidance. It's a manual for everything. So I'm working on that to get more spiritually inclined and aware, and also the choice of a life partner. Yeah, that's another very, very important key, the choice of a life partner. Because if you miss it once, it's you're done. If you miss If you
mm,
marry who no get sense, my brother,
mm.
you go suffer.
It's good. It's
So
good. It's good. It's good
the
that
choice of
you brought it to the pigeon level.
yeah, so the choice of a life partner
Yeah, yeah, but those are really good points.
and also building a community around you where sometimes
Mm,
it gets
hmm,
overwhelmed, you
hmm.
have you have a community to like fall back to
See,
and be like, yeah, I think it's getting too
God
much. I
bless
need
you for
help.
that point.
So
Because
that community is important. Yeah.
yeah, I literally spoke to, let me allow James go first. Yeah, James, good.
And no, I think most of what you shared, Ray, for me,
Yeah.
it's first of all building that foundation with God, like your relationship with God. I think that's one
Mm,
thing that I've noticed, as I've been married for 2 years, 2 years and a couple months now. I think one of the things that I have noticed steadily is that whenever I am out of alignment with God slightly, like when I'm not spending intimate time with God, like reading my Bible, devotion, all of those things,
mm,
I tend to be a less everybody, you're born in my wife was even talking about it today. Being born a man and a woman is being a man and a woman. Now, how do you become a good man is a different conversation, and I agree with that.
mm,
But I think that whenever I have strayed away from where I need to be with my relationship with
mm,
God, I've noticed very steadily that the things that I find as being a good man, I tend to deviate from them, and those things are being more disciplined, being more patient with my wife, with people, in general. Being
mm,
more loving, kind, all of those things.
mm, mm,
And also being a little bit more controlled because I feel like I'm the kind of person where it's like I like go, 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 go. But like whenever I'm
mm,
in alignment with God, I'm able to be able to control that where I don't feel like you wouldn't be able to catch me on a weekend on a normal during like on a normal time. Because I'm just like, I have only 2 days off. I need to be doing something with my life that's moving me forward. But like being in alignment with God has given me that opportunity to take a deep breath. Like, okay, maybe everything is not about productivity. Sometimes you need to like calm down. You
mm,
need to like
mhm,
focus on relationships, focus on spending a couple hours more with your wife than you're used to, spending a couple
mm,
hours more just doing nothing, just being.
mm,
So like
hmm,
for me, that's part of being a man that falls in line with my ideals, being a good man.
mm,
I also think that Ray,
mm,
what you said about two things actually. First thing you said about community, I think that's a huge one. In this phase of life that we are going in as a society, I think one of the things we need to focus on is building community. Um, I was even talking to my wife about, okay, why don't we have dinner with our neighbors? Like, in the Bible, it talks
mhm,
about how
mhm,
the disciples, how they would all
mm,
come together. Everybody would bring something and everybody would just eat. And that was like an evening.
mm,
And then they would do that
mm,
again over and over again. And I'm just like, why don't we do that? Why don't we have four neighbors around us. Why don't we just go and tell them, hey, Alpha, 2 weeks time, let's do a potluck at our house Thursday evening. It doesn't have to
mm,
be anything fancy. It's just like, getting to know people. It's also something I'm very proud of our parents for. I always say this about my parents and my wife's parents. They're very good at making community. They're very good at making those investments in community. Like my mother-in-law, she would do things for people just because. And the same thing for my mom. She would just do things for people just because. It doesn't have to be like, oh, this massive thing. It could just be like, hey, are you hungry? Let me buy you food or oh, come to my house and come and eat. Like it's not a big deal. I think that's very important. And then the part about I don't want someone who is watching this to be scared of marriage. But what you said about, finding a life partner is very important. And finding the right person is very important. But I think just one step further for anybody that might be worried about, hey, how do I know this person I'm with is the right person? I think the first thing we can do as individuals who are trying to find somebody is, are we the type of person we would like to be with? Like are we even in alignment with the ideals that we want from a partner? Okay, for me, I want somebody who can take ownership, be accountable, somebody who's understanding, patient, all of those things. Am I even that person? Instead of projecting that on
Mm.
somebody else. I think it's very important as
Yeah,
men,
yeah, yeah,
especially
yeah,
as
yeah.
men, because
Mm-hmm.
like, it's not to say, patriarchy, women don't have whatever. It's just that as a man, you're still going to be looked at as a leader. And a leader, it doesn't mean, oh, you can't show weakness or you can't, or whatever weakness might mean, like crying. It just means at the end of the day, the woman that you're going to be with, and if you're in alignment with the word, you are called to love that woman and to lead. And leadership doesn't mean dictatorship. It means actually every single thing that Jesus did, being empathetic to people, holding space for people, being patient with people, all of those things. And it's just like, are we even in alignment with those ideals first before we start like, hey, I want somebody. And because it's easy to attract that person when you are that person. It's very easy to attract
Mm.
a good spouse. It doesn't mean you're not going to have issues. It doesn't mean there's not going to be growing pains. It just means that you already know who you are. And now you're
Mm.
bringing somebody else who has those ideals into the picture so that when
Mm.
conflicts come, times that are hard, when those things come, the character, the foundation is built. The foundation is
Mm.
on God, and the foundation is on all those ideals that you have. So I think for me, those
Mm.
are the two things I wanted to plus one too, because I think those are very, very crucial, especially as we continue to go the way we are going in this life with this next generation.
Mm. Yeah, honestly, I love that community part. But man, both of you have raised like very, very important things. Like to be honest with you, when I even asked the question, the answers you gave, like I wasn't even expecting some of the answers to be honest. So I'm just completely blown away. But that community one is very important. I was actually talking to a guy yesterday, that one thing about like if I it's one reason why I even got closer to God recently because and the guy too for the same reason. He wanted a one source of truth, and his own is kind of adjacent to my own reason. My own reason was simply because I was just tired of doing life by myself. I've done it for too long, and it was interesting while it lasted. It was fun, but honestly, it felt at some point I don't just need to carry that burden anymore, like alone. And so that's one reason. So we're talking yesterday, and then I was like we have this couple of guys that we went to the same school together. We even recently did a watch party together, which Ray you saw. And I was like, guy, we can't continue to be doing life. At this point now, like we're all trying to get like partnered up. We're working on trying to create like the financial future that we want for ourselves and our family. We're also working on our feet. Like at this point, we don't need to be doing these things alone. Like we should have like a support system. You, me, the other guys. So we meet up. Maybe if it's once a year, say a year in review kind of this where we talk about like, oh, what have we done this year? What was that thing that we planned to do this year? Like, have we been able to do it? We talk about all areas of that, like the things that we set out to do. Like that, I feel like every guy, I mean everybody actually should have like their own maybe like group, whether it's four, whether it's five guys, where like those group of guys are like your cheerleaders, they support you and then they push you on projects. Like they might not even be interested in like what you're doing. Like they might not be like sorry, not interested, but like your target audience, what you're doing. But they have the words, they have the spiritual backing to like, but we just need that support system behind us to like go through life because even on days where like um this way, for example, maybe there's even like say some issues with family and stuff. There might be someone in that group that is, like God has given a particular gift of like being able to like, you know, process that emotion with you at that period of time.
Mm.
And before you know, you go back home, you're a different man. Because there's certain things that obviously you might not be able to discuss with like our partners, right? Like they should be like, brothers in the faith that we can go to and say, guy, this is not everything they happen. How's they born? That kind of thing. So um, I just feel like that community part is so, so, so important. I feel like it makes for better men. Men that have this kind of support system, they usually have like, they're just different. They move through life differently. And I can tell even just by listening to some of them that I've listened to, I can tell that the move through life is very different. So I feel that community one is a very important
And
ingredient
for
for
whoever
life.
is going to be watching this later on, you know, you might be asking yourself, how do I find these communities? How do I get to be in these communities? It is not hard, you know. The church is one.
Mm.
Then the school is two.
Hmm.
You know, I can say where I met Toby was a school. Like I met Toby in a
Yeah,
cohort where,
yeah. Hmm.
and we from there we've just been like going. We've been guys. We've been
Mm.
kicking it. From there I met Jude. You know, he's been my spiritual one-on-one guy. You know, we'd be like going
Mm.
through one or two. Let's pray about this. Let's talk about
Hmm.
this.
Mm.
You know, it is not hard. I know
Yeah.
not every guy is able to make friends. Some guys are like, I just want to be on my own. I don't want anyone to disrespect me. I don't want to finish. I
Mm.
just want to be on my own. Yeah. And sometimes everyone can be like that, but you need someone. You need a brother. You know,
Yeah.
the brother
Yeah.
doesn't have to be by blood. You need to if you play sports, engage in sports, and whoever you find in your sports zone, be friends with that person, and then don't be selfish. If you want love from
Hmm.
that friend, give love. You know, if you
Hmm.
Mm.
want attention from that friend, give attention. So building a
Mm.
community is not that hard. You can start from where you are right now
Hmm.
and start up something. You don't have to wait
Mm.
for a perfect time. You don't have to wait for everyone's uh pattern, the way they meet. You can say, "Oh, he met from his school,
Mm.
so I have to wait until I get to school, then I can make my own community." No, you can
Hmm.
start from
Mm.
anything that you're doing, from your
Yeah.
sports, from your Saturday get together. Just connect, just make friends. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not
I
hard.
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much, man. You guys, yeah, I'm proud of the man that you've become, or are becoming. Let's see. I'm proud of the man that you're becoming, really. And it's a privilege to have this conversation. We definitely have like a part two. We continue
For
this at
sure.
some point. But this was great. This was nice. Thanks for showing up, man. Thanks for
You're
showing
For
up.
welcome.
sure.
All
Appreciate it.
right,
All
Yeah.
right. Take
Alrighty.
care.
bye.
That's it, guys. All right. See you.